Alright, welcome back to the bench. The next part of this project is the chassis. Now before we start on the chassis, it says to go ahead and build your receiver box, your ESC, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to take the time right now to bind my receiver and everything else before I stick it in the box. But the parts that we need for that are in, says, open plastic bag 3. Okay, plastic bag 3. We have some parts left over from plastic bag 2, which are hardware and stuff, I'm sure, for the frame, chassis, whatever you want to call it. Holy smokes. Motor parts. Who knows what? The body, heads, parts falling off. Okay, so here is the receiver box. I will put the bottom part onto the chassis part. If I can find it. So shouldn't be that hard to find. Okay, that's the one side. That's the second side. There it is. Okay. So here is the receiver mounting bracket and ESC. Okay, so the receiver mounting is pretty simple, pretty straightforward. All I gotta do is figure out which bag G. Good gosh almighty. I got a J, I got an H, I got an I. Oh, that's not bag G. Yeah, bag G. Where the flip is bag G? Okay, we found bag G. Okay, so open up bag G. Okay, so with a little more forethought, we will I lost my train of thought. Matter of fact, I lost the whole piece that I was working on. Here it is. A little forethought. We're going to go ahead and mount this. I'm going to put my receiver in there. I use a Fly Sky transmitter. So we have a Fly Sky receiver. It's a 3-channel. So if you have shifting and all that good stuff. We'll just have to open it later when we plug everything in. So we got self-stick tape. Thanks. two-sided tape, or whatever you want to call it. It can be a pain to get the paper off the back of these if you don't have any fingernails. One side comes out so nice. The other side. So we just mount the receiver in there with a little sticky tape. Save my binding plug. I got like 100 of them. Okay. Then you have a couple of seals. Yeah, and I'd like that kind of seal. They go in here for your ESC and your, drawing a blank, guys. All right. Didn't like the way I put that in there. So I'm going to put it the other way so that the antenna will come out through the antenna hole. They could have split that open so that you could simply push the antenna through there, the antenna wire. But no, it's a hole. I'm trying to get a hold of that wire to pull it all the way through. Should have put some slippery stuff on it. Make it go in the hole quicker, easier. Okay. Whew. What a pain. Well, you want it to be waterproof. That's what you got to do. And then, of course, the wires for the ESC and the transmitter. The ESC and the servo go through here. I could do the ESC. But we'll worry about that in a minute. Okay, so the ESC goes on here. So we'll place the ESC probably in we'll see how that works. Probably should be waiting until I get to the actual putting of the body together. But just to show you guys how this works. Okay, so we're not going to put the ESC on. Alright. That finishes the ESC receiver holder. That took way longer than it should have. Alright, chassis. Start off with this piece. And this goes over the battery holder. Put a pretty big battery in this. Alright, so you're putting 4 screws in the battery holder cover to hold it in place. Now, depending on what kind of battery you're going to use, I'm using a 3S that is not very big. Looks like this. That's not the 3S, but that fits in there just fine. The 3S is a little fatter. I also have these 3S batteries. That fits in there just fine too. So depending on the battery you're going to use, you can adjust the battery tray to fit your battery. Okay, once we have the battery tray cover put on, next step is the door to hold the battery in place. Battery door. Excuse me. Battery door hinges, I guess. Okay, so you got one here that fits inside of the hinge. And then the other one has a pin or a clip that goes in there. And it's held down with 2 screws. And those are 38s. Pretty straightforward. There's only one tall screw. And that goes in the hinge. And then there is a clip that goes in to hold the battery door shut. Okay, and that's the battery tray. Next, headers, and they go on the left and right chassis. Doke. Now let's orient this baby just like that. These go right through here, and that was backwards. The header's facing the wrong way. Okay, and those are held in by 31,280. Those are some little screws, guys. And they screw or thread into the chrome piece before they screw into the frame. Nice touch though. See how long it takes to break these. All right, that's one. Okay, so now we have the chassis pieces. All right, now we're going to put the 2 halves together. Figure out what's going on here. Looks like we're going to need this piece. So we take 1/2 of the deal, this one, what they consider, I would say, passenger side, maybe right side. They're calling it the right side. Okay, so this, okay, the long part goes here. Short part goes there. Okay. And then we use A 436. The biggest thing here is just to look at the pictures, make sure you're using the right length screws, because there's a lot of them. Just orient the frame pieces. And don't over tighten. Okay, so there's only 2 screws holding that piece in. Then the nose piece, or front bumper, is this. This will only go on one way, luckily. Now this, we're going to be using 34s, which are smaller. And again, I can't stress more, do not over tighten these. You will strip them out so easy. Okay. Next is the SC holder. Okay, at this point, you're going to have to hook up all of your electronics, because once you get it inside the frame, you cannot get it apart to put the electronics in. So we need to orient everything the way we want it. Okay, at this point, I need to get my electronics squared away, because once you put this stuff inside the chassis, you can't get to the electronics. So I'm going to bind my receiver, hook up all my electronics, make sure it works. This will be different for you guys, so I'm not going to put you through all that. Okay, I've got my electronics all bound, hooked up, ready to go. So now we can stuff all this stuff inside here. We use this little waterproof silicone gasket thing here to put your ESC and your steering servo inside this silicone. This can be fun. but it keeps it from getting the water getting in on your receiver. And now we put the receiver top on that we misplaced. There we go. Run the antenna through the antenna hole. My antenna doesn't want to fit through that hole. It's too small. So we'll make it a little bigger. I have this electric drill, an electric screwdriver. Put a drill bit in it. A little bigger hole in the antenna hole. Now it fits. Alrighty. Put screws back in the top. Oh, gasket. I misplaced the silicone gasket. There it is. Screws back in it. Plug them up, don't over tighten. Again, we got plastic on plastic. Can definitely strip them out pretty easily. We definitely want the receiver to be waterproof since we're going to be mudding this baby. I'm going to get it tight enough so the gasket's tight. You don't want to get it too tight though. All right, now back to install. Gonna be fun with this hanging there like this. Figure out some place to set this axle. All right, back to the chassis. Screws for the receiver box, 4, 6, 7. The longer of them. All right. All right. This is just a lot of screws, a lot of orientating the parts, a lot of plastic. Just making sure we got the right screws in the right holes. All that good stuff. Okay, so now we got that on. Now it's the battery box. And a cross member. Find the cross member. Here it is. Cross member. Cross member goes on this little plate and the hole next to it, and those are screws A465. That hole's too small for that 465. Okay, the screws they say that you need to use to put in this, I believe it's the body post holder, are the wrong screws. They ain't gonna fit. Or they won't fit. You need a bigger screw. So I had to dig up some bigger screws. All right. Next is the battery tray. Okay, the screws for the battery tray, according to this, are A467. Okay, we got lots of those. Okay, so A467 goes into the rear one, and then the other with 3 holes take 436. There's so many screws in this chassis, and getting the right screw for each one. But definitely on that cross member for the body post, that's a wrong screw they got listed in the instructions. Okay, the next piece is, I don't know. Basically, it says to put the other side on. So, watch, rinse, and repeat. Okay, I'm missing a screw somewhere. Right there. Okay, chassis. Finished.